middle of votes here, so I want to. Well, we've been celebrating National Police Week across America, and obviously celebrating the heroism of our men and women in law enforcement. They're heroes not just this 1 week a year, but every single day. And at the same time, we also stop, and even though it's not their week in terms of acknowledgement, teachers are also extraordinary heroes that are impacting communities and life every single day for our young people. And so they're also heroes all the time. And unfortunately, though they provide a tremendous service to our communities, in law enforcement, our first responders and teachers, oftentimes these men and women can't afford to live in the communities that they serve. And one of the reasons why is housing costs. And so there's a lot of reasons why housing costs are high and unaffordable. And we're trying to address one of them through these changes in the law that provide a new opportunity for financing, specifically for men and women who are first responders in law enforcement, firefighters, police officers, and also teachers, who we think are so essential, not just for our country, but essential that they be able to afford to live in the very communities that they serve. And I'm very grateful for the overwhelming bipartisan support that this bill enjoys, and I'm hopeful that we can convert it into law. I now want to, obviously Senator Ossoff is here, Congressman Rutherford is here. I think we're expecting Congressman Lawson at some point as well to come and to be a part of our effort to talk to you about this today. With that, I think I'll turn it to my House colleague, Senator Rutherford, and then I know Senator Ossoff. And again, I apologize ahead of time. Both Senator Ossoff and I have votes, so if at some point you see us take off running, it's because we're the last two, and we don't want to get cut off. But I'm grateful for all the groups that are here to support us today as well. We thank them for what they and their members do for us every single day. This is the least that we can do, and I'm hopeful we can get this done.
Thank you, Senator. Well, welcome everyone. Listen, I have to first say that, I think the strength of America's domestic security really lies within our state and local law enforcement ranks. And so I thank all of you for being here today as we recognize the sacrifice of those men and women across the country who every day dedicate their lives to service to their community. And as Americans, we all succeed when we invest in those who serve in our communities. As was mentioned earlier, like our teachers, paramedics, EMTs, police officers, and firefighters. Look, they truly are our heroes back home. And so we can't say enough about their service and their sacrifice. I want to tell you, this piece of legislation is truly bipartisan and bicameral because we are all committed to public safety. And as the senator said, it really is a bit of a tragedy when officers and firefighters and teachers are unable to live in the communities that they serve. And so this bill will give those first responders one opportunity to buy a house in a very affordable way. And I want to thank everyone for being here to help us celebrate these heroes. And now I would like to introduce Senator John Ossoff. Senator?
Thanks, Congressman. Thank you. Thank you, Congressman, and good afternoon, all. It's great to be here with Senator Rubio and bipartisan colleagues during Police Week to announce this bipartisan legislation that will help police officers, firefighters, first responders, and teachers in our communities to afford homeownership in the communities where they serve. And as you've heard from my colleagues, too often those heroes in our communities, police officers, firefighters, first responders, teachers, can't afford to live in the communities that they serve. And so we've come together, Democrats and Republicans working together this week, Police Week, to announce this bipartisan legislation that is aimed at making homeownership more affordable for heroes and public servants in our communities. I want to thank again colleagues in House and Senate, Democrats and Republicans, for uniting and putting the heroes and public servants in our communities first, and thank you all for joining us. I now have the pleasure of introducing Representative Lawson of Florida, if Representative Lawson is here. Okay, do we have Representative Katko? Hey, John. Hey.
Thank you, man. Sure. Thank you very much, and thank you to my colleagues on both sides of the aisle. This is what we're supposed to do in Congress, work together for the good of the people all over this country. You know, this bill is about taking people who wake up every day, usually put on a uniform if they're in the military, if they're in the law enforcement or EMTs, and risk their lives to help other Americans. And we had a similar concept to help others that do that every day and put on a uniform and risk their lives for us. And that's the military. And this bill is patterned after the VA bill, where first-time home buyers get a break. And I know that bill very well because my son took advantage of that. He's a lieutenant in the Army National Guard right now, and were it not for this bill, he wouldn't have been able to buy his first home with his wife. And so I know firsthand that this concept works. And for teachers who have the solemn responsibility of nurturing our young and getting them ready for adulthood and sacrificing much in the process, this is the least we can do. We need these citizen servants. We need these individuals who risk their lives and dedicate their lives to the betterment of our societies to have that break so that they can get into those homes with their families. And you know, let's face it, law enforcement's under fire these days, especially law enforcement, and the attrition rates are terrible. And we need incentives to get individuals to come into this profession again. There's a lot of other things we need to do to fix the sentiment that exists, unfortunately, in this country against law enforcement. But we do need to incentivize people to come in, and we do need to replenish the troops that have left. So this bill does that and so much more. It's well deserved, and I'm happy to be a part of it. I'm happy to stand with my colleagues and my brothers and sisters in law enforcement and within the teaching community and the EMTs that do this. So thank you very much. And let me introduce to you Sam Royer, National Director of the Heroes First Home Loans. Sam?
Thank you.
Sure.
Good day. My name is Sam Royer. I'm the National Director of Heroes First Home Loans, and I'm the original visionary of the Helper Act. In my daily walk, I'm asked many times, Sam, who is a hero? How do you define one? And many times I pause and think. Quoting Superman from my childhood, the late Christopher Reeve defined a hero the best. A hero is an ordinary individual who finds strength to persevere and endure in spite of overwhelming obstacles. Heroes. The police officers we honor this week during National Police Week. These heroes serve to protect us, be it local, state, or federal, individuals, all with life-threatening careers. In the face of today's obstacles, no matter the call. These heroes, like military members, no matter the climb or place, they are all there to serve our communities, knowing the ultimate sacrifice they can make, their lives. The firefighters, who run into burning buildings when others are running out. These heroes, regardless, pandemic or economic downturn, they're there waiting for the call to save a home, a family, a child, or an accident victim. When called to serve, they work tirelessly without regard to their lives, in many cases to save our property and loved ones. The EMTs and paramedics, who are on the scene day and night at the worst of times when we need them most. No matter the case, they're there, be it COVID-ridden times, an auto accident, a gunshot wound. These heroes render aid with compassion and get victims to a place of safety and security, many times in spite of overwhelming odds. Finally, the teachers. Those heroes who help shape our future generations and who we entrust with our greatest assets, our children. A teacher can touch a child's life in so many ways. We all have that one special one we remember that possibly changed the outcome of our lives. I was fortunate enough to go to high school with the most famous man on the planet today, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. A little known fact about Dwayne, our football coach, a teacher, changed Dwayne's trajectory in life. Where would Dwayne be without that teacher today? These individuals do not do these jobs for glory. They do not do these jobs to become millionaires, and they do not do these jobs to one day be memorialized on a wall of honor because they gave the ultimate sacrifice like so many. Names like Jason Rayner, Daniel Alfin, Paul Luciano, Mark Renninger, Dominic Guida, Laura Schwarzenberger, and so many more. These heroes choose to serve their communities for the love of it, the legacy they can leave, and the services they perform for all of us to live in a stable society. We honor them and thank them so much. The Helper Act is just a part of what I believe is needed to help these individuals obtain homeownership in a more affordable way. Just as I have been, being a United States Marine Corps veteran myself, I have that affordability. See, I can buy a home more affordable than these heroes I speak about that serve our communities. And this bipartisan legislation gives these heroes a shot of home ownership like the VA home loan has been doing since 1944. It gives them a more affordable option because without the down payment requirement, the monthly mortgage insurance premium, it gives them a fighting chance to afford a home in today's housing market that has skyrocketed over the last few years. No matter what the state of the economy or even during pandemic outbreaks, these heroes are still at their job 24/7 because that is what they signed up to do. They serve in spite of overwhelming obstacles, and just like the military member or veteran, these individuals are heroes in my book. So I just want to thank Senator Rubio and Congressman Rutherford for leading the charge to get the Helper Act passed. I call on all leaders of this country to join the fight to help these heroes attain homeownership more affordably. They put their lives on the line for us. They teach our future generations. Let the federal government honor them by giving them a fighting chance for a home in the communities they serve. It is the least we can do. And now I have the honor to introduce from the DC Firefighters Association, Dabney Scott Hudson.
Good afternoon. My name is Dabney Hudson. I'm a 21-year veteran of the District of Columbia Fire Department. I'm the president of the IFF Local 36, the Firefighters Association here in Washington, D.C. I'm a decade-long resident of the District of Columbia, and I have the unique pleasure of representing the individuals that protect the men and women and the residents of the District of Columbia, the visitors here that we have every day, and we also defend the seat of our nation's government right here, the U.S. Capitol, the White House. And we're honored to do that. One of the biggest problems we have in the District of Columbia, though, is home ownership. Over the last 10 years, housing prices in D.C. have spiked over 63%. Excuse me. Most of this plot of land here is some of the most expensive in the nation. The median home price in 2009 was $381,000 here in the District of Columbia. In 2020, it was over $600,000. This provides a significant barrier for our members to live in the same communities that they serve. We're asking our members to buy houses when they can afford it the least, when they just get hired, when they're making the least amount of money. We're buying in a market that is rampant with, At today's price, some of these houses would require a down payment of over $120,000. My members are competing against all cash offers where individuals are waiving every right they have, inspections, appraisals, and they just can't purchase houses. This is forcing our members to live miles, sometimes hundreds of miles away from the District of Columbia where they can have a safe environment for their family to grow. Some of the issues that my members face with purchasing: the cost of houses, mortgage insurance, and significant down payments. The effect: only 28% of our members live in the District of Columbia. Many travel from states around, further away surrounding the district. This removes them from where they work. It stresses their work-life balance, and it creates problems when we need our members here in the district. Passage of this bill would allow the members an opportunity to make home ownership a reality. It will return our first responders to the community that they serve. This is an important piece of legislation. I'm asking for everyone to support this. This is a very important piece of legislation that would give our members, like I said before, the opportunity to own a home here in the district. I'd like to once again thank everyone here today for supporting this bill and for making the home purchase for our members a reality. Now I have the opportunity to introduce Chief A.J. Panacebo, President of the Virginia Association.
Can we hold this for a second? We have votes about to be called in the House as well. I'm going to call Congressman Al Lawson here from Florida. He's my great co-sponsor, primary co-sponsor of this bill. Come on up, Al.
Thank you, John and Lita, and Senator Rubio, who I had the opportunity to serve with for many years in the Florida legislature. You know, in Congress, there are always some legislation that you feel very proud of. And this is one of them. I was so happy when Congressman Rutherford and Rubio asked me about being a co-sponsor on this legislation. You know, as you heard from some of the firefighters and some of our police officers, who we depend on so much when times are tough and things really happen. I was thinking about, from my own family standpoint, having firefighters, police officers, EMTs also working. When they found out about this legislation, you know, they contact me to say this is very important. We too, after we save life, would like to share an American dream. An American dream is home ownership. And this is very important because just a few years ago, I was struggling, wondering whether I could ever get a house. But it's even more difficult now for the people who are responsible for saving lives. You know, when you see in the news, when you see a firefighter climbing up, they take a baby out of 8-story windows, you know, because of a fire to save life, all of us always respond about how great that are and what they're doing. But little do we think about their families and their opportunity to earn a living. Because, you know, local governments all the time say, we're going to take care of you. We're going to take care of you while you're running for office. We're going to take care of you. And police officers and stuff, it never really happened. It's almost like they always said on television, when something happens like that, who are you going to call? They're not going to call Ghostbusters. They're going to call the people who know what they are doing, who sacrifice their families, life and health every day and go into very difficult situations. This is one of these legislation that I'm so proud to be a co-sponsor of because I know how many people it's going to help so they have a big quality of life. I'm honored to stand here with these individuals today because I know for a fact it will make a difference. We do a lot of things in Congress. We send money all over the place. But this is one of the most important places that we could think that we could do is give them the opportunity for them to raise their family in a stable complex in their houses and stuff. And that's the reason why it's so important. So I thank you all for being here today. And this is the best legislation that I've seen in my 6 years of being in Congress. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank all of you. My name is AJ Panabianco. I go by Chief AJ. I want to thank you, and I want to say that the Virginia Chiefs of Police Association and Foundation and its 500 members that consist of active and retired federal, state, local, and even private law enforcement executives, administrators, and managers are excited about this legislation. As the president of this organization and a police chief in Virginia, I know that the Helper Act means that what it means to the men and women of law enforcement. As chiefs, we strive to hire police officers who have a desire to serve and to help others. However, recruiting is at an all-time difficulty level. But I know the Helper Act and the loan program that it would foster would be an incentive to new employees and also an incentive to current employees to hang on to that structure that we have and the importance of mentoring. Every day, law enforcement officers serve our respective communities. They do it with pride. However, as was said before, their pay is often more stagnant than the housing market. Many are not able to live in the places that they serve or the neighborhoods that they patrol. I did a quick search this morning just to find out what's around here. I didn't use DC, I used Maryland, but I won't say the community because I don't want to point them out. I found one home that was a 3-bedroom home for sale that was under $700,000. They start their police officers out just about $56,000, $57,000. So even if an officer was able to save even just 10% for a down payment at $500 a month, he or she would accomplish that goal of getting that down payment in about 11 years. We know that the market today doesn't support an 11-year wait to get a down payment. However, the Helper Act will eliminate that need. Lastly, the Helper Act is one way that we can recognize the officers and their difficult and often self-sacrifice that is given to their communities. I appreciate all the members of Congress who are working on this to make this a reality, and I appreciate all the members who will vote to make this legislation come through. It's my pleasure to introduce Gus, and he and I have the worst names, I'm sorry. I'm just going to say Gus.
Good afternoon, and I'd like to welcome everyone here today. My name is Gus Papathanasio. I'm the chairman of the FOP United States Capitol Police Labor Committee, which represents the rank and file police officers that protect the congressional community and the ground you stand on today. I am pleased and honored to be here. The Helper Act is a great bipartisan effort bringing together members of Congress from both sides of the aisle and from across the country to help our officers. These are incredibly difficult times to recruit young men and women to law enforcement, as you all know. In the next 5 years, the United States Capitol Police will have to hire 500 new officers just to keep up with retirements. In addition, we have to hire over 800 new officers just to meet the new threat environment as we face attrition following the January 6th attack. And we have to do this in one of the most expensive housing markets in the country. The Helper Act gives us an important tool to help officers access the housing market and have their slice of the American dream, which is home ownership. I want to thank the members of Congress who are co-sponsoring this bill. I look forward to more members joining the cause to get this legislation across the finish line. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.
Do you have any, I guess we have time for a few questions, right guys? Yes, ma'am. Well, I don't know what the holdup in the House was. I certainly know that from our perspective, we're announcing it to you today. We did an event on this a few months ago already. We thought it was appropriate, being National Police Week, to highlight the challenges that men and women in law enforcement, our first responders writ large, are having across the country, and achieving accessibility of housing, especially the first-time buyers. So, and in many of the communities that they serve, they can't even live anywhere near there. And perhaps some of my colleagues have more insight as to the past impediments, but I think this is just an idea that we've got to push on.
Are you talking about the same bill, Helper Act? I don't.
Actually, the former Helper Act was actually an education bill. This is a homeownership bill.
Yeah, that was the name of a previous bill in the Senate. So they're not the same bill.
We're running out of names. So
That's right.
Hannah Brand from Nexstar. Just wondering why you guys chose first responders and teachers in that kind of select group. Why not, make this some more broad legislation? Why pick those?
Can I
Yeah.
respond to that?
Please.
Yeah, if you look at state and local law enforcement last year, they experienced a 45% increase in early retirements. Right now, state and local law enforcement agencies across this country are struggling, I mean really struggling, to fill a 17% gap in their personnel. That is significant, and it creates an amazing danger for our country and our communities. That's why.
Okay.
Good to go.
That's good. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks,